What is up, guys? Welcome back for our week 4 of the UPA Team Builder. This week we are taking on the Baltimore Oriolus, coached by Ben, and he has a pretty, I wouldn't say amazing team. It's good, but I think our team can handle it decently well if we bring the right things. So let's just hop right into it. I don't want this to be extensively long either. I say that every video, but everything ends up being 30 minutes anyway. So the first Pokemon we are bringing is going to be our Primeape, Jake. We are bringing an expert belt set because it's able to hit things very hard with Gunk Shot. You guys should see his team come up on the right. I'll go through that first. So it's Heatran, Slurpuff, Fortress, Cinccino, sorry, Gallade, Articuno, Mega Manectric, Slowking, Landorus T, Dusknoir, Lantern, and Braviary. Now, as you can see, he has the Manectric, the Mega Manectric, and the Lando T. So Primeape becomes a big threat with Defiant, as it nullifies the Intimidate and gives it a +1 boost instead. It's rocking 310 speed because I need enough. Actually, let me just reinvest in. I don't have my my HP investment here. It's rocking 310 speed because that outspeeds max speed Lando T without a Scarf. And basically, we are going to be bluffing this thing as a Scarf for the whole game. We're going to try to as much as possible. Try to switch out when we could technically hit something for super effective damage. The only thing I can't switch out on is the Slurpuff. I can't allow it to get up a belly drum in front of me, and you'll see with the composition of the team, no Pokemon allows my opponent to actually get up a belly drum, so it's really good. So we're rocking the Close Combat Ice Punches, of course, for the Lando T, the Braviary, and it can also hit the Articuno. Well, Close Combat's better in that case. Gunk Shot is purely for the Slurpuff, for hitting it super effectively. It's also my strongest move, I believe. Well, no, Close Combat would be on Lantern, but it's my strongest move on Slowking. It's a little bit stronger than U-Turn if I'm not mistaken. No, U-Turn might actually be stronger because it's super effective. As you can see, I got U-Turn on there. That's another tool to be able to bluff the Scarf. It's super effective on Slowking. He'll know right away that we're not adamant banned, but he might still be expecting the Scarf for the rest of the game. So that's what I plan to do with this thing. U-Turns for initiative. I'll most likely go for that on turn 1, expecting either Lando T or Dusknoir to switch into my Close Combat. If he chooses to lead with Mega Manectric, it's a bad lead for him because we have this thing, and I could potentially OHKO it if I am Scarfed, so he would have to switch immediately out. So that's going to be our Primeape set. Hopefully looking for this thing to put in a lot of work this week, especially if he does not have Scarf Landorus T. It can demolish his team. So the next Pokemon we're bringing is Entei, and this time around we're bringing a Life Orb set. I didn't want to lock myself into any move because he has the Heatran and the Fortress. So if I lock myself into a Fire move, Heatran can take it, and I fully expect that thing to be on a balloon to be able to counter our Entei, which is why we're rocking the Stone Edge as our 4th move. Bulldoze is to be able to knock out Heatran after we pop its balloon with either E-Speed or Stone Edge, and Sacred Fire is there, of course, because it's a general coverage move for his whole team. Hits the Fortress, quad effective, hits the Articuno for super effective damage, can potentially get a burn on the Slowking, who's actually weaker on the defensive side, opposite to Slowbro. Can get a burn on Landorus T, on Dusknoir. Lantern is a Heal Beller, if I'm not mistaken, so it can get rid of status, but it also does not want to get burned. And Braviary, same thing. So Sacred Fire, of course, just always your general coverage move. And Extreme Speed is there, as usual, to attempt to clean up games. Of course, we are running 285 speed because it outspeeds Gallade. Outspeeds most Articunos, I believe, maybe all, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just, it outspeeds Braviary as well. So it's a good speed to hit, outspeeds Heatran, Slurpuff, basically everything that I have to. The only things I don't outspeed are, of course, the Mega Manectric, the Lando T at max speed, and the Cinccino. So very good Pokemon right here. Obviously, he can Scarf his Heatran. That would be another issue, but we do have switch-ins to that, so it's not a big deal. If his Heatran is Air Balloon and I happen to go for a Sacred Fire on that thing, I might have to switch into my Seismitoad, which is over here, or my Latias as a result. The next Pokemon we're bringing is actually our kill leader, who got 4 kills last week. This is Mega Diancie is insane, guys. I love this thing so much. So this week we're running a modest 252. You see, we hit the 310 speed. You're going to see that on another Pokemon as well. Actually, it's our next Pokemon, Latias. But we're hitting the 310 speed just to be able to outspeed Lando T at max speed, because everything else is normally below Lando T's speed tier. So any more investment, and I wouldn't be outspeeding anything anyway. So that's why I'm running this. Ability should not be, well, it's clear body before Mega Evolution, of course, and we're going to have to play, I'm going to have to change this to regular Diancie before the game starts, but it's just so you guys can see the stats. We've got Moonblast there, it's our hardest hitting move, 459 special attack, nothing appreciates switching in on that. The only things that do being Heatran and Fortress, actually, I don't know if Fortress even takes 2 Moonblasts, but anyway, the only other things, we have Earth Power and Hidden Power Fire for, so, and Protect as a last move to be able to scout out if something is Scarfed, and also to be able to protect from hazards or from Flash Cannon from Heatran to see what kind of set it is. I fully expect Heatran to be packing Flash Cannon and Earth Power this week. Maybe not even a Fire move, seeing as my team's not too weak to Fire types other than Chestnut. So that's going to be our Mega Diancie this week. As you can see, we have 220 speed, as I said before. 32 EVs, I just had to split them up evenly. This actually allows us to take Volt Switch a little bit better from Mega Manectric, so nice having that investment right there. We're not rocking Diamond Storm this week because anything that Diamond Storm would hit, Moonblast either gets rid of, Hidden Power Fire hits the Articuno, of course. Actually, I think Moonblast just hits it harder. Same thing with the Braviary. Basically, my objective is to get up Rock, so to make sure that his flying types can't come in for free and are OHKO'd by Moonblast or Hidden Power Fire, respectively. And of course, I hit the Fortress, the Heatran. Moonblast actually does something like 80% to Slurpuff, which prevents it from belly drumming up. Same thing with Entei's Sacred Fire as its Life Orb, Gunk Shot from Primeape. And now the next Pokemon we have is Clara, our Latias, and we're rocking Leftovers, 248 HP, 156 defense, 104 speed, with a timid nature to be able to outspeed Landorus T at max speed once again. This thing can set up a sub on a lot of his Pokemon, namely Pokemon like Lantern, Slowking if it's not carrying Shadow Ball, Gallade if it doesn't have Shadow Sneak, not Articuno because it can Ice Beam us. We can set up on Fortress. I'm not sure if it can actually break our sub with the Gyro Ball, seeing as we're not running max speed and we do have defense investment. Heatran if it's not carrying Dragon Pulse, which it might not be because of the matchup. So we can set up on a lot of things. We can sub, start Calm Minding up, and with a Calm Mind up, Slurpuff is just taken out of range from being able to belly drum up, so it would have to break our sub first, and so we'll just go, and I believe I have to check this. I actually have to calculate this before the game, which is happening in about half an hour. I have to check if a non-belly drummed Slurpuff's Play Rough knocks us out at 81% after we get the Leftovers, so gonna have to check that out. But for the most part, this thing can just sweep its entire team. Shadow Ball is there for the Dusknoir, and the Slowking Psychic hits pretty much everything else. I need Fortress a little bit weakened before I can actually have this pull off. Shadow Ball can also hit a Heatran for a good amount of damage at +1, and again, it can't really touch us if it's not carrying Pulse, and if we start Calm Minding up, it won't be able to touch us anyway, so that's pretty much our Latias set. Really looking forward for our offensive Latias this time around to put in some work. Our next Pokemon is our Seismitoad, and Seismitoad is obviously not done too well this season. It's gotten killed by a couple of things, but it has gotten up Rocks, and this is going to be its role once again. I need Rocks to break sturdy on Fortress to make sure that Sacred Fire takes it out. I have to get chip damage on Landorus T, and as I said before, I need Articuno at 50 when it comes in, and Braviary at 75, so Rocks are going to be extremely important. Now, if he's carrying HP Grass on the Manectric as a lead, that means that it cannot touch our Latias at all. I'm carrying the Rindoberry just to be able to actually get off my Rocks turn 1, and we'll see what he wants to switch into. If we have the lead situation of Seismitoad versus Manectric, I may just end up clicking Earth Power, because I can set up Stealth Rocks on a plethora of things later, such as Lantern, Dusknoir, because it's usually slower, Slowking, which can carry the Grass Knot, of course, but I'm obviously faster than a Slowking, unless he speed crept a non-speed Seismitoad, but we're just gonna have to deal with that. And of course we can outspeed his Fortress, so there's a lot of things that we can actually set up Rocks on later. I would want to weaken the Manectric early to make sure that I can knock it out with either an Ice Shard or an E-Speed later, so, or even a U-turn coming off of Primeape. He might have to sack his Manectric at that point if it's really weak, so that's what I'm looking for Seismitoad to do. Of course, we have the Modest Nature 250 252, 248 HP, just a standard bulky set with a lot of a special attack investment. Earth Power is for Heatran and for Mega Manectric, of course. Also hits the Lantern super effectively. Doesn't do too much, but it's still a good move to have. Scald, of course, for the Landorus T. I fully expect him to bring Volt Absorb Lantern, by the way. I know he has the Manectric as a Lightning Rod user, but he's going to have to Mega Evolve that thing at some point. And I have both Electros and Magnezone that can gain a lot of momentum, and I'm fully expecting him to expect me to bring the Magnezone due to the Fortress. So, and because of the Slurpuff, I opted not to bring it, and this team can handle the Slurpuff rather well, which I don't necessarily see coming. It can sweep my team up, but as long as I keep it low, Entei can come in after and E-speed it and get it out of the way. So, Sludge Wave is there for that purpose, as you guys can see as the last move. It does roughly 65 to 70 to Slurpuff, so 65 to 72, so after it belly drums and goes back up to 75, I Sludge Wave it, bring it down to range of, once again, Ice Shard or E-Speed, and then we can lose our Seismitoad freely. It's not that big a deal. If it walls Manectric, it walls Manectric, but we're going to find another recourse for that. Of course, we have Life Orb Entei's E-Speed, which can do a lot to Manectric, and Weavile's Ice Shard, so this is going to be the last Pokemon right here. We are bringing our Weavile for the third time, I believe, so the third time it's coming, and Entei as well is also its third appearance, but Weavile is rocking a very interesting set this week. We are bringing Watmel Berry, which was tried by somebody in the GBA, Miguel Megamogwai. Didn't work out because he was against a Scizor and it just bullet punched him, but this week it can definitely work because it's against a defensive bug and steel type that we are against. So knockoff into Natural Gift Fire with the Watmel Berry from an Adamant Weavile does take out Fortress. So we're looking to be able to lure it in, get a knockoff, get rid of its leftovers or whatever other item it's running, whether it be Cuss Tap or anything like that, and then just hit it with a Natural Gift Fire, knock it out, get rid of that thing, make it a lot easier on Latias to be able to function, and for our Primeape to be able to go for U-turns a little bit safer in close combats and even Ice Punches. I mean, I don't want to be stuck in against the Fortress with my Primeape after I've gone for an Ice Punch, which is very predictable, seeing as he has the main Intimidate core on his team, being Mega Manectric and Lando T. And then, of course, we have Ice Shard to be able to pick off a Scarfed Landorus T, which I don't necessarily expect because I can bring a Chestnut, but it does do pretty well against my team, and I have to have a final recourse for it, so I opted for Ice Shard instead of Icicle Crash. You can clearly see that Icicle Crash is a much superior move in this matchup because of the Articuno, the Braviary, just everything in general, really. The Slurpuff, I would be able to hit it a lot harder, but this is the only Pokemon that I don't have super effective coverage for or can do a lot of damage to on the Slurpuff. However, knocking off its Citrus Berry will allow me to, will not allow him to recover after the knockoff, of course, because he won't have the berry anymore. He'll go down to about 10%. And as a result, Ice Shard will be able to potentially knock it out. I think it's a roll. And if not, then once again, Entei's E-Speed will be able to clean up the Slurpuff. I just don't want that thing setting up on me. That's my biggest fear this week. He doesn't really have a lot of other setup sweepers, barring maybe the Braviary and the Gallade. The Gallade I have things for. I mean, Shadow Ball on Latias, Moonblast on Mega Diancie. Scarf Gallade could be a problem, but we'll deal with it if we find out it's Scarfed. Again, we have the Latias, which can take physical hits really, really well. So that's our team, guys. Sorry, I didn't mention Low Kick, of course, is there for the Heatran because it's another thing that can pretty safely switch into Weavile most of the time. I have to be packing the fighting coverage or I completely lose to that thing. So that's it for this week, guys. Make sure to watch the battle tomorrow. It's going to be... we're going to try to get the Montreal Habsols to a 2-2 record and try to get an actual decent differential in tomorrow's game, so definitely be looking out for that. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you want to see these team builders, and my battles, of course. I do Smogon lives, Showdown lives, excuse me, almost every day of the week, so if you want to watch that as well, subscribe, and leave a comment for me down below. Hit me up on Twitter, follow on Twitter, it's in the description, and that's it, guys. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and ciao.